All right, this lesson is on solving equations by factoring. And we have to start with what's called the zero product property, or the zero factor property. Zero factor property. And basically what it states that if you have a times b and it equals 0, two numbers multiplied equals 0, then a equals 0 or b equals 0. One of them has to be 0. That's the only way you can multiply two numbers and get 0. Now, how do we use this to solve an equation? Well, let's say we have something like 2x minus 1 times x plus 3 equals 0. I can use this zero factor property. This is like my a, and this is like my b, and it equals 0. So, according to the property, 2x minus 1 has to equal 0, or x plus 3 has to equal 0. In other words, I just set each factor equal to 0. And then if I solve each one for x, I get my solutions. This one I get x equals 1/2, and this one right here will give me x equals -3. And so I have solved the equation. The two solutions are -3 and a positive 1/2. Here's another example. Okay, keep in mind that and all of these, the directions are to solve. So I have x times x plus 5 times 3x plus 1, and it equals 0. I can extend the zero factor property, set each part equal to 0. X equals 0, or x plus 5 equals 0, or 3x plus 1 equals 0. X equals 0, this one gives me -5, and this one will, if I solve that correctly, will, let's see here, that'll be -1/3. And so that equation has three solutions: -1/3, 0, and a -5. Like that. Okay. Next. Suppose my equation is 3x squared minus x minus 4. Oh, let me back up. Equals 4. Okay. To solve this equation by factoring, we have to have one side equal to 0. We don't have a choice, or else we can't use the zero factor property. So I'm going to move the 4 to the left side, where it becomes negative. Now the equation is equal to 0. Okay, you always have to do that. Then we're going to factor the left side. Now the left side factors to, let's see here, 3x squared has to be 3x times x. And the factors of -4 that are going to work here are going to be let's see here, a -4 and a +1. There we go, like that. Okay, I have the equation factored on the left side. It equals 0. I can now use the zero factor property. 3x minus 4 equals 0, or x plus 1 equals 0. If I solve this equation, I'll get 4/3. And if I solve this one, I'll get -1. And so I've got my two solutions to the equation. There they are. Here's another one. 2x squared plus 3x equals 2. Okay, once again, I have to move the 2 over to set the equation equal to 0. Just like that. Then I factor the left side. Let's see, 2x squared, that's going to be a 2x times an x. And factors of -2 that are going to give me the correct middle term here are going to be, let's see, -1 and +2. Okay, it's factored. It equals 0. I now apply the zero factor property. Either this equals 0 or this equals 0. If I solve this equation for x, I will get a 1/2. And if I solve this one for x, I get a -2. So the two solutions to the equation are -2 and 1/2. All right. Moving along. Mm-hmm. 25x squared equals -20x minus 4. All right, once again, I have to move everything over to one side so the equation is equal to 0. 25x squared plus a 20x plus a 4 equals 0. I then factor the left side. Now this trinomial is what we call a perfect square trinomial. It factors to 5x times 5x and then plus 2 and plus 2. Applying the zero factor property, 5x plus 2 equals 0, or, well, the same thing. Now, you don't have to really write the same answer twice. This equation really only has one solution. It's going to be -2/5. One solution for this equation, -2/5. X squared equals -12x. Now let me fix that. There we go. Okay, yet again, I have to move everything over to one side to set the equation equal to 0. There we go. Now, to factor this left side, notice it has a GCF of x, so I'm just going to factor x out of both the terms, like that. And it's factored. I now apply the zero product property, or the zero factor property. X equals 0, or x plus 12 equals 0. Excuse me. So my two solutions are 0 and -12. And I've solved the equation again. Okay, next one. X squared equals 9. Move the 9 to the left side. Factor the left side. Notice that that is our difference of squares pattern. It factors to x plus 3, x minus 3. I then use my zero product property. X plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. And I get my two solutions, 3 and -3. Equation solved. All right, next one. X plus 6 times x minus 2 equals x minus 8. All right, this one, even though the left side is factored, because the right side is not equal to 0, I have to FOIL it out first and then move everything over to the left side. Because it has to equal 0, there's no option. I'm going to FOIL this out. It's x squared, that's minus 2x, that's plus 6x, and this is minus 12. Okay, I'm going to combine my like terms. I'm going to now move everything over to the left side so that the equation is equal to 0. And I end up with x squared plus 3x minus a 4 equals 0. Okay, now I can refactor the left side. And let's see, that quadratic will factor to x plus 4, x minus 1. Using the zero factor property, x plus 4 equals 0, or x minus 1 equals 0. My two solutions are -4 and a positive 1. And I've solved the equation again. Okay, one more like this. (3x cubed plus x squared equals 4x. move everything to the left side. The equation is now equal to 0. Factoring the left side, I notice on this one that I do have a GCF. I can factor x out of everything first, so I'm going to do that first. So now I've got 3x squared plus an x minus a 4, like that. Now I'm going to factor the trinomial, and that trinomial factors to 3x times x, and then plus 4 minus 1. I have the left side completely factored. It equals 0. I can now apply the zero product property. X equals 0, or 3x plus 4 equals 0, or x minus 1 equals 0. So 0 is the solution. This one will give me negative 4/3, and this one will give me x equals 1. This equation has 3 solutions, and there they are. And that is how we solve equations by factoring. That ends the lesson.